stay down here. You can come up here if you want. So I think you guys just sit here, and then we want to do like introductions, just like from where you're at.
The lights, when are the yellow is how long?
Cool. I start. Hello, Sebastian. I work with GRI. I'm in the corporate development team. I'm looking for M&A and investment opportunities for us. GRI is a Japanese public listed company. I'm with GRI International, which is the Western business based in San Francisco. And we pretty much look at everything in mobile gaming. And last year we looked at around 200 companies. Just to give you an idea, like that is quite a lot of work, because I believe in that you have to really like turn every stone to find a good gaming studio. But it's a lot of fun, because it's you know that every pitch you see, every gaming company which comes across the table, they put a lot of effort into it, and it's good to be in that position and see all those great games.
I'm Tony. We're Vector Ventures. We're an early stage VC from Hong Kong. We're here looking for opportunities in the mobile space. Thanks.
Hi, Jim Ying with CP Capital. CP Capital is an investment bank headquartered over in Shanghai, brokering late-stage investment and M&A deals coming out of China. So two of our recent deals were the one announced last month, AppLovin for 1.4 billion, and before that, Media.net for 900 million. Previously, I led publishing and investments teams with Six Waves, GRI, and Tango.
Hey, Mike Oway, I'm VP of Growth for FunPlus. FunPlus is a pretty large developer and publisher. I lead marketing, publishing, analytics, and a bunch of other stuff for our investment fund.
Yeah, hey, Mick Galotio. I work at a company called Flare Games. We are a German-based mobile game publisher, and we specialize on action, RPG, and strategy games. Good to be here.
Cool. So I think Jason is up first, so you get 5 minutes to give your pitch, and then 2 minutes from the den to give comments, and then we'll head to the next one. So you want to come?
Is there a clicker?
Yeah. Probably just right in the middle of that.
Right, hello. I'm Jason. Nathan, we are Euphoria. Very excited to be here today, and thanks for your time. Without further ado, Euphoria, for over 13 years, we've been passionate about creating innovative, engaging content and technologies that unlock the imagination. And this year, we changed from a company of games to a company of dreams. While that may not sound like a lot of change fundamentally, it really challenges who we are and why we do what we do. We'll cover that a little more later. Our three main focuses: there's mobile gaming, there's virtual reality, and there's emerging technology, and that's where the company of dreams comes in. So for mobile gaming, we had breakout success with Unite, which was a social media dashboard that pulled together all of Euphoria's 50 million plus PC gamers, and demand grew very quickly for the service, and it was acquired in 2010. We had more success with games like World Soccer Saga that racked up over 500,000 installs in less than 3 months. And this title, along with a number of other mobile titles, are all available for publishing partnerships. The virtual reality, as you guys know, is a large and growing market. There's a lot of potential there. We're very happy to be one of those 20% of active developers that are busy in the space. We had a good success, or a good show with Hero Showdown. We are nominated to be entered into the International Mobile Game Awards, and we're very proud of that. It's for contribution to mobile VR excellence. We have 7 other VR titles we're working on, anything from social experiences to multiplayer FPS. And emerging technologies is where the company of dreams comes in. And this is where I have the most passion about these projects. 3 main projects. There's AI Awake, there's Project Esports, and EEG VR. AI Awake is a lightweight AI that you can drop into a rigged T-pose character, and it comes alive. It moves, learns, acts, and can intelligently communicate with players. And I think this alone can really benefit the future of gaming. Project Esports. So, as you know, esports is a big market, and it has a lot of potential. And we are working to integrate a lot of the features of esports, the international PvP, league system, flexible player-focused rewards, into our future offerings. And this is something that we're developing as a plug-and-play solution as well. And EEG VR is what I'm most passionate about. So EEG is electroencephalogram, which is a brain activity reader. And when we talk about synapses firing, or the mind-body connection, or the brain telling the hands which buttons to push on a controller, what this is just electricity carrying messages from point A to point B. And what we can do is intercept that with, that's what's going on, with an interface, whether that's a computer, device, and communicate with these with our minds. And so there's two main applications that we have with this. One is that in physical therapy, if a patient with, say, nerve damage, mobility issues, is able to move their bodies in virtual reality, it actually does connect with their bodies and help them to make progress faster. And so while now this is a useful tool, we really believe that in the future it could be essential to getting people up and walking again. Another application is that instead of using controllers for everything, we can start to use our minds to move our characters in-game like we do with our bodies in real life. And there's two great things about this. Well, there's a great thing about this is that you can reduce motion sickness associated with VR from either quick changes in movement or from low frame rate. And we aim to have this as a standalone hardware solution in the near future, and it's something we're very excited about. So I want to thank you for you guys' time. Our CEO, Nathan Blair, will be handling the Q&A. And cheers.
Check. Great. Thank you, Jason. Any questions or comments?
Do you want me to handle the clicker, or do you want to handle it?
Yeah, so I've also been on the other side of the table, raised some money when I was running my own company, and a lot of my learnings from running my own company was focus. So you got like 5 things up there. So what's your focus?
Great. Yeah, so those 3 focuses, basically mobile gaming, VR, which are games. We make games, and we make games better. So looking at those emerging technologies as a way to make those games better, whether that be through the AI or whether that be through being able to make people less sick or get better, those are things that we're looking at are games and how to make them better and how to make experiences better for people.
So if you had to bet the company on one of those businesses or projects, which one would it be?
Probably with just the emergence of VR, that's the focus that we would eventually take it if we had to choose.
Yeah, I think my question goes in the same direction. I was wondering how many people you are in the company?
So we have 35 people. Some of those are contractors as well.
Okay. Yeah, I think my first thought was the same. It looks like a lot for a relatively small company. And I mean, mobile gaming being more and more mature, I think it's always good to stand for one thing and do one thing really deep. Although you have a lot of other things in the pocket, and you might think of other things and you find efficiencies, but I think you want to be like the champion for this one thing, so that when everybody walks out of the room, they remember you of, these are the champions for this one VR solution, for example.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, think just to mirror what some of the folks said, I think that both from an internal company focus perspective, now 30 people is decently sized, and you could be working on different projects, but the number that you guys have up there is pretty significant. And I think, as Sebastian pointed to, from a VC's perspective or from an investor's perspective, they're looking to invest in a specific space, and they got to believe that you're leading the charge in that space, and you're going to be able to differentiate and generate long-term value. It's not clear which is the area that your team is differentiating in.
Okay. Respect that.
How much money are you trying to raise?
What's that?
How much money are you trying to raise?
We're open at this point. I don't have a specific number for you.
Okay.
Yeah, so as a follow-up, say someone was interested in investing, I think the first question they're going to ask is, where's the money going out of the 5 projects? And you said VR, but even in VR, you've got 2 projects. So you've got you're a game studio and also looks like a software hardware developer. So I think as you're pitching, those are things that you should know going in. Specifically, what's the focus? Where's the money going to go? How much you're raising is a question you're going to get a lot. So that's also important.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, just quick thought from there. Like, I'm trying to think back to the first slides. So there was, less is more. I would say when you're pitching and you're showing your products and your games, and I was almost want to go back a couple slides and what were these games about, and kind of like just jog back. So there was a lot of stuff in the presentation. I'd like to actually see that before even saying anything, because I think the last thing that I got was the cool brain headset, whatever. I'd love to have that, just try it out. But I kind of missed the early part. There was so much things there.
Sure.
Maybe it's my jet lag. I don't know. Could be.
Great, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, so up next we have Jeremy from Doorway Game.
Good afternoon. Thank you for coming in today for the last bit before we hold you for drinks. But I'd like to warm you up a little bit for Doorway Games. We have been around for 4 years, traveling in here. Jeremy actually has been in this space pre-iPhone. I've also been here at pre-iPhone, on there once. We've been developing games for a while. We've got a new exciting game that we want to talk about today. So what our goals are. Our goal is what we have done in the past is taking games from other countries and brought them to the US and sold multiple copies. We've downloaded probably over 2 million games over the last 4 years of games that we have produced. So we're taking a game called Fight the Landlord, which is the most popular game in China, and by numbers, the most popular game in the world. We've changed it slightly. We've trademarked it, so we own the IP, and it's called Beat the Banker. We have been testing it. We're actually on the iPhone App Store right now and Google Play. We're running all kinds of tuning it and tweaking it. We'll show you some numbers before. Our development team is based in Beijing. We're headquartered in Bellevue, Washington. We have a very strong cross-cultural working team to work both with developers over there and to localize it for this one. We have a lot of experience both in the US market and in China, which this is the biggest game in China. Jeremy?
Okay, talking about the US market, everyone knows slot machine, all right? It's like taking maybe like 60, 70% of the market share on the card casino category. However, in China, the landscape is a little bit different. And the most popular game there in terms of like card casino game called Fight the Landlord. So it's a card game played by 3 players. And it's like, it has like 70 to 80% of the market share there. And why the Fight Landlord is very successful there. So it has a very short game session. For each game, it's just the 70 seconds. Because it's played by 3 players, it's very easy to match up with different players. And have the bid process and the play process make it very interesting. And it need a very easy to learn, but really need a lot of strategy, make this very So a very in-depth game when you play from the day one even to the 1 year. So compared with Texas Hold'em, it's actually some very a lot of better characteristics. For example, for the Texas Hold'em, you only bid. You actually do not have the process to play the game. But the Fire Landlord, you really need to think of what the different hands you should play. And these are the 2 players against 1 player. So it makes the compete versus collaboration. And one point I don't like Texas Hold'em, when you fold, you can only watch. But for the Beat Banker, you play from the start to the end. And the rule is very simple. So let's say we want to introduce Fire Landlord to China, but why is it called Beat Banker? Because we think we want to create a unique IP and make it very popular worldwide market. And so there's really a lot of examples here in US market. Everyone know Uno. Actually, Uno comes from a game called Crazy 8. And the Jim Romy, that's from the Freeze 10. And so our goal is to make the Beat Banker from the Fire Landlord is one of the top popular card and casino game here. So I would like to give some more specific impression about that. Oh, can you how can click the play now button? Oh, there's a video there. Yeah, okay. So this is the process. So play by 3 players. Very simple game, and you can be the banker or 2 workers play against the banker. So now I'm the banker and another workers. So it's really a lot of interesting hands and animations and bombs. And so whoever runs out of cards first will win the game. Sorry, for some reason the sound doesn't come out. Yeah, I win the game. So this is just a short description of how this card game works. Okay. Yeah. So we have been by 20,000 users on Facebook. We see some very interesting data. Our update you can read. Now its average is 28 cents. And we get some pretty good long-term retention. And calculated by those numbers, our LTV for 3 months can reach $3.5. So, yeah. And one of the panelists, Jim, once studied our data. Actually, our data now is 50% more, much better than when you studied the data before. So our long-term goal is to, not only introduce Beat Banker game, but also introduce the Beat Banker tournament and make it one of the most popular games in the card and the casino category. Okay.
So what are we using the funds for? It was asked in the previous questions. Customer acquisition, customer acquisition, customer acquisition. We already have revenues today from other games. Mm-hmm. We have a small burn of $30,000 a month. Our development shop is in Beijing. We have 15 people there. We have 2 people here. So we're looking for $500,000. We actually have another investor says if we find one, they'll match it for another $500,000 for $1 million. Next.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
So this card game space is pretty tough, right? You've got Zynga, you've got Play Studios. How are you guys going to go up with them since they're pretty well entrenched and they've got deep pockets?
Deep pockets actually scary if you have a game that sits there. If I can buy ads and I make money on the ads on the retention, and if I have a long-term one, this is a very sticky game. It's proved over in China that the players stay a lot longer in card games. Casinos, you're always applying. Texas Hold'em, there's a lot of people out there. If we own the IP, we think we can get a much longer life on here, which adds to the lifetime of value. So owning the IP takes us a long way.
Just to drill down a little more on his question. So you said customer acquisition about 3 or 4 times up there. So that has a lot of different definitions. So are you talking about buying ads, CPI, cost per install type ads, or is it something beyond that as far as distribution? So my question is, what are the plans for distribution?
All the above. Actually, we're looking to acquire ads. We've been running on different platforms that we're testing out to see what our CPI is for each of those. Also, we're looking at App Store optimization, and we're looking at some other friend things that have been built into the game, which we didn't have time to cover today.
So what's the, do you know what the US CPI is?
I know what we're paying. I don't know what the average is.
Yeah, we test around, so right now, if you buy like 500 users around that number every day, our testing result around like $2.50 to $3 a day of CPI. Yeah.
So to his point, the space is very saturated and lots of incumbents with deep pockets. So what you're doing, I know you guys aren't exactly a social casino game, but when you're bidding for those clicks and those installs, you have to bid against social casino games who can afford to pay, you know, $10 an install. So
actually, we're not going against social casinos. What we found is we're actually going against other card games. Because it's a very strategic game, we're going against like Uno and Phase 10 and Solitaire, which the rates are much lower, and we've had good click-throughs and good follow-throughs and stickiness.
Can you talk a little bit about the LTV of the game, how you plan to monetize the user, what different systems you have in place, and then also, if time permits, a few words on live ops, how you trying to, or your plans to manage the game going forward.
In terms of monetization, it's follow other like card game, like casino game strategy. So we give out like the in-game currency we call credit. So everyday users can get some credit for free. And when they play each table, they pay game fee. So our purpose is move all the users up to the high stake tables so they can run out of credit very fast. And at the same time, we have some tournament. So basically every player pay 1,000 credit, and we take a rig, and maybe only the first player get the money, even of a huge bonus. So this, I think the monetization mechanism is very similar to like Texas Hold'em, like poker game. In terms of long term, right now we are focused on like early user experience because it's a new game. A lot of investors, the first question they ask, how does American can like learn a new game like that one? Now I think we have already addressed this problem pretty much a lot. So now we focus on long term, how to engage user to long term, continue to spending, and using different event and competition, tournament, and achievement honor to really drive the users long term spending.
Thanks.
Thanks for one more question. Okay, so quick question. So you guys have shared the general CPI range, $2.50 to $3. It's actually pretty decent for a social casino type-ish game. What does the LTV for those players actually look like? Is it an ROI positive investment that you're making on that?
Yeah, for the LTV, the user we tested is around 3 months LTV is $3. $3
to $3.50.
Yeah.
We're actually
before the cut, I mean. 3
That's
months.
before Apple's cut.
Yeah, before it's like $3 for 3 months.
On Facebook.
Yeah.
we're using.
Yeah.
The other thing is also, as we found, is the 60-day pretty much is a level long-term. We don't lose them after 60 days, and so that's why the tournaments and some of the other long-term strategies. So we actually believe that a 6-month valuation is probably better looking at it than a 3-month, but we're using 3 months for metrics of what we're running all our ads at and monetization.
Cool. All right, we gotta go to the next one.
Okay.
You guys, you can All right, so up next we have Jeremy. Actually, so judges, just so you guys know, you guys have to pick the one from the companies, so be aware of that. So next we have Jeremy from Winter Games.
Hello? Huh? Can you hear me? Hi, I'm Jeremy Zuckerman. I'm from Toronto, Canada, and I am a former management consultant and left my job at Boston Consulting Group a couple years ago to found this company with a unique value proposition to the users. So as we've been hearing all day, there are a ton of big challenges when you're a new gaming company trying to make it in this industry, right? Those big challenges are also challenges for investment and are what make it really difficult for investors to come in and make a seed stage investment in your company. A lot of the time you have to be very successful already to grow and scale. So the first of these challenges is obviously getting noticed. It's rising above the market saturation. There's over 2 million apps out there these days. It's difficult to come up with a compelling differentiation. How are you going to make yourself any different than 2 million others? You imagine they've covered everything. And building company-wide brand value as opposed to one single game's IP, how do you make your company's brand have value across everything? The second would be cross-app user loyalty. It's great to go and build one game, but then how do you cross-promote those users into a different game mechanic when, from a company perspective, you would want to keep those users with you? And then the third being replicating successes. You've seen some big companies out there have some really big one-off successes and then not be able to continue with that success. Introducing you to Big Time, the mobile gaming platform. What we have created is a cross-app gaming ecosystem driving user loyalty and growth through free cash prize contests. The first app we put out, our minimum viable product, is that first one, Big Time, with 15 games inside of it. That app alone has had now over 1 million downloads, and we are starting now to branch out into our single individual game mechanics that are all sitting on their own. The users enter the platform through the first app and then get cross-promoted between the plethora of our next apps. Right now we're sitting at about 19. These are all the apps we have out there. We just started launching these new single apps a few weeks ago, and they've been doing well so far. So to address the getting noticed, Big Time employs free cash prize contests. You play any of the Big Time games, and as you're playing the games, you collect tickets while you're playing. These are simple, super casual, programmatic type games where they're endless runner, in theory, puzzle, and others of the like. You collect the tickets while you're playing, and those tickets are entries into a cash prize draw. Every couple days right now, we're giving away $500, so $1,500 a week, to one lucky player every 2 days. What we've created is a reinforcing loop. So as the user base grows, we're able to generate more ad revenue. Since the games are 100% free and they have no in-app purchases, all revenue is earned from advertising. As the ad revenue grows, we're able to increase our cash prizes. So while it is only 500 today, as the user base grows, we hope to expand those cash prizes to larger and larger sums. And then the larger prizes should generate greater exposure, increasing our organic growth coefficient. While $500 is exciting somewhat to some people, $50,000 would be exciting to a lot more people. That's how we're solving getting noticed. Cross-app user loyalty. Tickets also serve as a loyalty system in the apps. So this one currency goes across all of our different apps. So while you're collecting the tickets while you're playing, those tickets can also be saved in your vault. And then those tickets from your vault, if you get enough tickets, those can be redeemed for cash. That black bar in the middle there, that is our top bar, and that is our UI that goes across all of our apps. On the left-hand side there, you can see your ticket currency, which is cross-game and cross-app, which is saved to the user's account. And then all of the users' accounts are saved on our servers in the cloud, and they follow you throughout each of the apps. And at the bottom there, you can see these are all of our different IPs that we've created ourselves. 19 different games right now, and continuing to develop. And then the third is replicating successes. What we're going after is a diversified portfolio of games. I'm not here saying I have a crystal ball and I can tell you what the most successful next game is going to be, but what I can do is minimize my risk per individual game and create this diversified portfolio. This game, Double Double, we actually contracted out the game mechanic and we contracted out the art development. So in total, this game only cost us $500 incrementally to make, whereas the day we put it out and seeded users in from the Big Time app, it already started making $25 a day the first day in ad revenue, and it paid itself back within 20 days, and it's profitable now. And so what we would like to do is to continue doing that times 1,000. We want to have a huge portfolio of games that are all serving as buckets to collect our users that are funneling out from game after game. So the new game mechanics draw off proven popular successes. The low cost of production makes us be able to build a diversified ecosystem of games, all linked through the cross-promotion. And then these new games have two mechanics to them. They provide increased opportunity of discovery and education, as well as new content for all the existing players within the system. That's it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, just a quick question. So that platform that you were explaining there, is that something that you're selling for, you know, somebody to use as a service, or is that you're looking for investment on that on your own?
So can you repeat?
So is that something you would be open to sell as a service to other companies to take and use?
As of right now, it feels like the way we're building the games, we can do it all internally. This has been a question that has come up with a lot of VCs that I've spoken with, is do we make it an SDK that can sit on top of other games? For right now, I'd like to keep it all in-house as we develop it, and we would take the investment to produce more games and then market those games. But yes, it could be, and that is a potential idea, but I'd like to keep it in-house for now.
Did you mention earlier on how many installs in DAU do you have across the network currently?
We have 1 million on big time, 1 million installs, but we're sitting at about 15,000 DAU right now. So those 1 million, there were a lot of growing pains over those 2 years, and that first big time app with the 15 games, that's been the one we've been iterating on since, but now the new games are amassing a lot of users pretty quickly.
So is Big Time a destination app and you have 19 other standalone apps, or is it?
Big Time has 15 within it, so it's kind of like an arcade in itself, and now we're sitting apps, new games on their own as well outside of Big Time. So if you were to go back, I can't go back, but basically, so now we have technically 5 apps.
So when you launch a new app, how many installs can you push via Big Time?
So it's really new, but that Double app has had, I think, around 15,000 already in 2 weeks. So the whole idea is that it's a reinforcing loop, and as the system grows in size and in dollars, it grows exponentially.
I think you said like it took you for your flagship app. It took you lots of iterations and some time to get it right.
Yes.
How do you plan to manage that for like a wide portfolio, right? Because
so all of that iteration has worked into that app, and now we've copied that over into these single apps, and each app on its own is working with that system. The iterations were on the entire system and the platform.
you talk about the monetization system, right? Like the ticket system.
Right, the ticket system, and then the monetization partners, the advertising networks, the way the ads feed in and feed out, and all that sort of stuff. But now all that's built, and now we're just copying it across all the new apps.
All right, keep going.
Oh, how much money are you raising?
I'm looking for $1 million. That's where we're at. 50% marketing and 50% game building. Thank you.
All right, up next we have Jimmy from Ocean.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, is there another clicker up there? The first clicker. So how does that? It just. Oh, so it just goes to the next one. Okay, cool. My name is Jimmy Smith, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of Ocean. And today I'll be introducing you guys to an experience called Signs of Helios. Card games are one of the oldest forms of entertainment in the world. Dating back to the 9th century, people have been playing card games before the invention of soap. Can you guys imagine sitting next to someone that didn't use soap? Fast forward a few centuries, and eventually we go on to create games like blackjack and spades. And if you fast forward again, we create games like Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon. We can all remember how fun it was to battle with our friends back in the day. Today, augmented reality is everywhere. It's in our movies. It's how we shop. And it's even in those silly selfies that we send to our friends. Augmented reality is changing our world. And so I started to think about how we could use augmented reality to bring cards like this to life. The ultimate question is, what does a card game of the future look like? And so my co-founder and I put our heads together and we created Signs of Helios to answer that question. Signs of Helios is an augmented reality card game for mobile devices. Using the latest in mobile tech, we created an experience that allows you to battle with your friends using digital characters that appear within your environment. There are 3 core aspects I want to talk about today for this experience. The first is our card. It acts as our image target and allows us to accurately display characters inside your world. It's made of matte plastic so that it resists food and liquids. It's credit card size, meaning that it easily slips inside your wallet or purse so that you don't lose it. The entire game is facilitated through this one card. Only one player needs one card to play the entire game with his or her friends. But the best part about this card is that it's free. If you register to play, we'll send you one before we launch, or you can print one off at home. The next aspect I want to talk about are the characters. Each character is carefully crafted with high quality details and animations. As a player, you can customize your character with different abilities and upgrade their weapons. Upgrade their statistics and make them better in battle. Take part in quests and online activities to learn more about their motives and what they fight for. And the next aspect is gameplay. For Signs of Helios, we use a digital card system that allows you to interact with your player. Each card represents a different action that your character can perform. To perform an action, you simply swipe up on the card in your hand to make your character perform that. Our revenue model is based on 2 aspects. One, in-app purchases like card packs, characters, and costumes. But then on physical, such as image targets with custom artwork and designs. Our projections, based on our own data and industry standards, we're confident that we can be profitable within 4 months after launch. We built Signs of Helios as a testament to our vision. To fulfill this vision, we're raising $750,000. So, augmented reality is the future, and I encourage you guys to take part in it. And so, our preview app is currently available on the App Store. And so I encourage you guys to download it and come see myself or my co-founder to get an image target and test it out for yourself. Thank you.
First off, great presentation. Great pitch. So yeah, it looks like you've got some retail aspects to the company. Are you guys planning to take some of these the things they can buy, like the cards and whatnot, out to retailers?
Yeah, that is the eventually we would like to do something like that. Right now we're really small, and so having to set up like distribution and those things like that to get into Target or Walmart or anything like that, we feel like would be kind of tricky initially, and so. But that's definitely something we would like to do down the road, is get into stores and stuff like that. So.
You showed the gameplay there a little bit. Like I was left wondering, how does is there a multiplayer component there that you can play with 2 devices in the same space, or?
Right. Yeah. So you can play locally. So you and I can have a battle in person, and we can use one card, the same card. But then we can also battle online. And so if you go home and I go home, and we have these cards, and I can invite you to a match, and my character will appear in front of yours, and vice versa. So we can play online or locally.
Cool.
Yeah, I think that's a really innovative idea. It's nice to see an idea how to bring card games into the future, right?
Right.
What is your background, you and your team, in terms of games? Like, did you design RPGs or similar games before? Question leading to understand how deep the gameplay is.
Yeah, so my background is product design, and I worked as an interface designer at a game company in Nashville, where I'm from. And my co-founder and CTO is a game developer with 5 years experience. He's built over 30 games. The artists that we have on our team have worked on games like Batman Arkham City and Gears of War, and so we're trying to use all of our experiences to kind of funnel that in and make the game as deep as possible and as rich as possible. Something that we feel like the industry lacks on mobile is like really rich mobile experiences, and so we're trying to change that and provide a rich experience for Scions of Helios. So.
The AR component of this is pretty interesting. What is it that's uniquely AR about this game that you couldn't do, let's say, with a 2D or a 3D game?
What do you mean? Like, what's
aside from, let's say, the cool wow factor, which of course, is there anything uniquely AR driven in the game?
Yeah, I mean, definitely having the characters appear and fight in front of you is definitely like the focal point, or the actual, like you said, the coolness. We do have a few other ideas that we've been talking about, like mini games and single player missions in AR that allow you to kind of walk around the world and explore and like earn XP and things like that. So hopefully that kind of answers your question.
I'm curious to know what's the next 3 hires you would make if you got the funding?
So the next 3 hires, we would hire 2 additional programmers, and we would bring on a full-time animator and graphic artist.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you very much.
Sweet.
So up next we have Andy from Duo Fun Studio.
Hi folks, I'm Andy Wang, founder of Dual Fun Studios. We make hybrid mid-core games specifically designed for the mobile platform, and we guarantee our games will be different than what's out there on the marketplace today. Let me share with you the story of how we got started. About 1.5 years ago, I attended a mobile gaming user group in San Francisco. As Mike knows, it was a Fun Plus user group. At the end of the user group, the Fun Plus guy pulled me to the side and said, "Have you ever thought about making your own mobile game? You really should go make your own mobile game." And I said, "Ha, that's funny, you're funny." And here I am. So if that sounds crazy, let's meet my team that's going to help us realize this vision. Chris Oakes runs our game development side. He's best known for his work on Marvel Avenger Alliance when he was the server team lead when he was at Playdom and Disney. Chris likes to tell the story about how Marvel Avenger Alliance had a massive launch and the game never went down even once. I said, "Chris, do it again, do it again." Irina runs our art direction. If you ever played World of Warcraft, you've experienced Irina's user experience and user interface design. Runs a tight ship on our art team, very good at making everybody feel warm and fuzzy. Masashi is a great programmer, and together with Chris, he makes sure that we are set up and built like a startup. So that means built for growth, built for scale, looking for ways to drive down incremental cost. So he and Chris are always looking at what server-sided components, what client-sided components can we use across in our planned portfolio of games. And then there's me. I run the game design as well as the business of Dual Fun. I've ran a lot of different business and product roles in Silicon Valley. I'm best known for building up the largest Salesforce.com financial services reseller program. And since everybody always asks me, well, then what's your gaming cred? What do you do in games? A little bit taboo to talk about here, but I'm pretty involved in the reverse engineering world of mobile gaming. So reverse engineers know me as the first guy that figured out King of War's event monetization and basically monetization strategy. So not what Machine Zone wanted to see, but for a good 2 months, my band of little free-to-play and light spenders crushed mega wells. So it was fun while it lasted. We have a good, well-rounded team of advisors that give us a lot of insights on both the business side as well as on the gaming side. Without advice from these people, I wouldn't know the mobile space nearly as well as I do today, and we wouldn't be where we're at. So super thankful for their generosity. So now, what do we think is the problem with, why do we need to shake up mobile midcore? It boils down to 3 things. I believe that games are not actively fostering friendships inside of the game, and that leads to a lack of community. If I look at the phone, this device, while we here may look at it as a gaming device, a phone first and foremost started as a communications tool, and that said something about the people that will be playing games on that platform. I also believe games need to be more competitive and more collaborative in real time. I think once the real-time train takes off, it's never going back. And lastly, I believe mid-core gamers, for them, 100 new levels in a puzzle game doesn't count as more content. They want different and meaningful ways to play. So how are we going to meet that? Well, meet our game, Chief Puzzle Officer, a real-time multiplayer match 3 game. You can see a GIF here where you can see that once you make a match, there's a lot of things going on. Characters are moving around. We may match 3 tactical. As well, there's a lot of attack and defense going on. So we have 2 primary game modes. One is a 4-player co-op, and the second is a 3 versus 3 real-time PvP. If it looks complicated, there's really only 2 decisions for the player. Where are they going to match, and when are they going to use their active abilities? While that seems simple and only 2 decisions, it gets very deep. What you're looking at here is 1 out of 3 boards that the player can be on during the 3 versus 3 guild wars. Do they want to move more people to the middle? Do they want to move more people to the side? Do they want to monopolize a certain color? Or do they want to match their items? Or do they want to match away their enemies' items? There's a lot of possibilities. Now, talking about community for a moment, I'm a big believer in the concept from stranger to friends. I like to always say that if I play with you 1 time, I don't know you from Adam. But if I play with you 10 times, when you jump into my game, I'll give you a thumbs up emoticon, I'll ask how you're doing, and I'll also say, hey, did you get that latest 5-star card? You really should go get that latest 5-star card. It's a good card. So all of our game mechanics focuses on making people play together repeatedly, whether that's our group finder so people can jump in right away, our notification system so that if I'm in a game and one of my friends sees that, they can jump in, and also our guild wars are designed to match people together. Our alpha players' favorite feature was our reinforcement system. In a nutshell, this is a way for people to jump in and take over a guildmate's deck and play with them during the guild war slot. So imagine you love to play, but you've never been able to collect all the cards to make a blue control deck. Well, no problem. Your rich friend was able to, or your lucky friend was able to, and you jump and you help them. You feel good, they feel good, win, win, win. In our alpha, I think for hybrid games, there's always one question, one burning question that has to be answered. Are we this, or are we this? Only one of these is good for a hybrid game. So on the way to prove out that we are this, we ran 4 weeks of alpha testing. The first week, we invited Puzzle and Dragon, Marvel Puzzle Quest, Magic the Gathering Puzzle Quest. Very overwhelmingly positive results, and that's good, because if these guys didn't like our game, really no reason for us to continue building Chief Puzzle Officer. Week 2, we invited Match 3 only players, better known as Candy Crush and Bejeweled. And these guys, one interesting fact, the longer they've been playing Candy Crush, the more they like our games. Same week, we also invited RPG players. Week 3, we took the show on the road and went to China and did a local user testing over there to test our international appeal. Week 4, we did influencers, guild leaders of mid-core guilds, streamers and YouTube makers of our game, and we felt pretty comfortable that we are this union of the Venn diagram. So what do we need? Why are we here? We're here at a pitch event. We're looking for money. First and foremost, for investments. We have opened up our seed round. We've collected $430,000. We're subscribed for $700,000. We would like to hit a 1.5 million target, which would be about 15 months worth of run rate across all expenses that we have planned on our go-to-market launch, as well as our continued development of portfolio. Depending on how the investment round goes out, we're also looking for regional publishers, most specifically in Asia. We very much would feel more comfortable if we had a strong local partner in China, and Japan and Korea are secondary markets of interest to us as well. That's it.
So you guys said you tested across those 4 or 5 different cohorts. What exactly was tested? Do you have a playable mobile build?
Yeah. So we're on test flight, and that's what we use for our testing. But we also, because we're built off of Unity, we did take advantage of pushing some PC builds, some APK, so that we were able to cover a wide range. But the first burning question that we said was to test to make sure they liked it. And then it was all the user experience and how they feel. Was the core game loop engaging? Did people stay a long time to play? And those were the things that we did. Most of our user groups were done in person, so we got to observe how they play. And we also, the PC builds and mobile builds were for people that were not able to make it in person.
Yeah, so nice to see you again. Thanks for being part of our focus group in San Francisco. But yeah, had a couple questions. So on the distribution side, what are your plans for distribution? Are you thinking about acquiring users? Is community? What's the plan?
So definitely we'll have to do some paid user acquisition to get users through, and we like to think that we're trying to do things smart. So Sean